Hi everyone, welcome to Hickory House Homestead. My name is Sara, and I believe this is going to end up being my first YouTube video ever. I am not quite sure what to talk about, but I am doing some yard work today. It is about 50 degrees here in southwestern Pennsylvania, and I thought that I would film a little bit of the yard work that I am doing while I enjoy the weather. So I hope you like it. There's not too much that I want to get started quite yet. I haven't started any of my seed starts for either my ornamental flower garden, herb garden, vegetable garden. And the temperatures next week are going to still be pretty cold. I think I saw that they'll be in the 20s for the high. So I really just kind of want to get my soil layers started a little bit in certain spots, more so because I'm concerned about the root systems of some of my perennial flowers. We had a flock of turkeys right up on our back porch. This is our back porch area right here in front of me, and then on the sides of the back porch I kind of created some, like a little bit of an herb garden right outside the kitchen, and perennial flowers, a couple annuals that may have self-seeded, and the turkeys loved the mulch beds. They scratched them up, and now a lot of the perennial flowers and plants that I planted have the root balls exposed to the air, which is not going to be great, especially with the cold temps coming. So I just want to make sure that I get those covered. I purchased some bag potting mix, not garden soil, and I also got some compost mixed with manure that I'm going to use temporarily until I can get some compost and some garden soil delivered in a larger amount in a truck. So that's what I'm going to be working on today, and I'm glad to have you here with me. Here is what I got for the beds. I got some compost and manure, and then I got some organic potting mix. It's underneath there. I think I got 5 bags of the soil and 4 bags of the compost and manure, some earthworm castings, until I can get my own worm farm started. Maybe this year, maybe not. I have a lot on my project list already. And then these are going to be for a different project. Those are going to be for my lettuce garden under the window inside the kitchen. So we'll see if that experiment turns out. While I'm unloading the car, I figured I could give you a little more of an introduction. So about 2 years ago, we bought this house, and there was no vegetable garden. There was some established bushes and plants, maybe more so than just, your average yard or lawn. But there really wasn't any garden established as far as flowers or herbs or vegetables went. And I've spent so much time and effort and money establishing the yard and outside of the house the first year and a half, 2 years that we've lived here, way more than focusing on the house itself. And I think that is because things outside take time. A lot of the plants that I've planted this year have been foundation plants, bushes that will hopefully grow pretty tall, trees that need to get established over periods of 5 to 10 years, and I wanted to get those foundation plants planted. That way I allow them to have time to grow while I'm landscaping and growing around them. That being said, I am not an expert in gardening. I do this because I am very passionate about it, and I enjoy it very much. It is meditative for me. It makes me happy. I'm an outdoor enthusiast. I love being outside in all weather, rain, snow, sun. And being out in the yard and creating a space that is an oasis, that's welcoming, and also provides for our family is important to me. You know, if I can go out into the backyard and harvest some lemon balm for lemon balm tea that I'm going to drink while I relax and crochet or watch movies or, you know, scroll on Instagram, there's something special about that instead of just reaching into a box of pre-made tea bags. Or, you know, if I'm making a salad and I'm able to walk out into my backyard and grab some of the tomatoes in the hot afternoon sun instead of having to drive 25 minutes down the road to the grocery store, you know, if I grow those from seed and they grow and I'm able to harvest them and then I'm able to enjoy them, there's something special about that. And I feel that way about everything, not just things that you can consume, but also the flowers that you can enjoy while you're watching pollinators, bees, butterflies, enjoy them, hummingbirds. And I feel that way also about ornamental gardening. You know, it, for me at least, it creates a positive feeling and a positive influence in my life whenever it can create a sense of calm or a safe space. And, you know, we have, I think, about a half an acre here, only half an acre, and it is still a lot of space to create with, and I'm excited to do that. And so last year was the first year that I had an in-ground vegetable garden, and it is right behind me, just that little square. And I'm hoping on the other side of that archway to create an equal square to extend the vegetable garden, and that'll probably be another video. But for today, we're going to be focusing on these beds right here. And then there's also a bed over here. I want to start out by giving you a little bit of a tour around these tiny garden beds. Let me turn you around here. I know these do not look like much at all, but last year they were so beautiful and very beautiful, especially for being established for the first time last year. So last year we had Thai basil planted all along the edge here. We had some mosses. We had some salvia, we had more Thai basil back here, and I believe these were regular basil plants. We had some thyme that got smothered out by the other plants, so I'll be surprised if that makes it. We had some sage, which I left standing to see what happens in the spring. I don't know if it'll come back. I don't know if I'll need to cut it down, take it out, replant. We have all of our lemon balm through here, which will take over this entire space. This is an azalea that I got on sale and that the deer and bunnies have been eating. So I had to put a little bit of a makeshift chicken wire fence around there to save that poor plant. This was a hydrangea, a mountain hydrangea that did not get planted in time before it almost died, but it is making a comeback and I'm excited to see how well it does this year. I had a circle of columbine that was stunted last year, but it did grow, and as you can see, it's starting to come back already, even in the middle of the Pennsylvania winter, so that'll be interesting. We had some foxglove and some lupine through here, which did not bloom last year. Last year, I decided to go on vacation when I was supposed to be planting my seed starts. So, lesson learned. A lot of my plants got stunted, and I will not be doing that again this year. That is the same hydrangea that one is. Only that one was planted at the appropriate time after purchase, and it did well. I'm excited to see how well it does this year. You can see that there are already some buds, leaf buds, so it took and it survived. We have a little mountain hydrangea back here behind some bird netting that I'm trying to use to prevent the rabbits and deer from chewing on it until I can get the space a little more established. Some more moss and a redbud tree that I'm also trying to protect because, as you can see through all of this netting, something has been attacking the bark on the trunk. So I don't want the tree to die, and I'm trying to save it until I can create a little bit more of a permanent safe space for it. This was a chocolate basil plant that you're supposed to be able to plant the container and have it decompose. As you can see, it did not decompose whatsoever, and since the turkeys demolished these beds, there's no soil around it anymore. I don't know if this will make a comeback, but I'm sure. As you can see, there are chocolate mint. Sorry if I said basil. I meant chocolate mint that have spread all throughout the garden, so it will be perfectly fine. This is another one of the salvia plants. This is what I was talking about with respect to being concerned about the root ball being exposed. There used to be dirt and mulch all around this, and now there's not. So we need to fix that. This is another mint, I believe. I think this was probably a thyme that also got smothered out by the mint. We got another azalea under there. Some things that were dug up by other animals. This was a raspberry leaf sorrel. You can see, it has not died yet. It survived all through summer. It was beautiful. I used it as an ornamental, not so much a culinary green. And it has not gone completely brown all winter yet. I'm really loving this plant, and I think I might actually try some of the leaves soon since they're small and tender. This was an annual salvia that was absolutely gorgeous. I hope it self-seeded. The hummingbirds loved it, as with that one right here. This was rainbow chard, and it was completely dug out by an animal, so I don't know if it'll make a comeback or not, but we'll see. It's kind of an experiment. We have some sweet woodruff all throughout here, and a ton of mint. Another azalea. I believe that's a sunshine ligustrum. Another chocolate mint that will take over this bed. And I think this is a Miss Lemon, or a lemon lime abelia, or a Miss Lemon abelia, I can't remember. We have caterpillar plant. That's kind of new to me. I don't really know what to do with that yet, but I put it in the ground as an experiment. And through here we have another plant I cannot remember the name of, so I'll have to look that one up for you guys. Anyway, this is the space that we will be focusing on today. It is right outside the back door of the house, the kitchen window. and eventually it will get extended along the bush line and the driveway. And this will be a little patio area through here. You can see I threw some currants and some strawberries out into the yard to see what happens with those. But that is my beautiful garden square and archway. And then that is future garden square. So what I'm going to start doing is just layering. I'm trying to establish these beds, amend the soil. The soil is really great and dark and rich in certain spots of the yard, and then in other spots, maybe inches down, there's straight orange clay. So it's really hit or miss in the yard. For the most part, I would say I'm very lucky to have a pretty nice starting soil, and I'm just trying to improve it in the ways that I know or think I might know based on videos that I've watched and educated myself with. I just keep creating different layers of, I might use topsoil, organic topsoil, I might use potting soil, I might use compost. I have my own compost beds that I've started, but they're not quite ready yet. Maybe by the end of this season they'll be ready, or maybe for next year I'll be able to use my own compost, so that's exciting. Manure, whether that be mushroom manure, cow manure, other animal manure, and worm castings I got this time to kind of mix in. And I'm just trying to create a diverse, nutrient rich soil that is going to be supportive of microbial life. As you can see here, I didn't bring the potting soil, compost, worm casting mixture the whole way over through the bed. That would be extremely expensive, buying bag by bag, and also it's not really necessary because I'm eventually creating, like, the entire backyard is going to be a garden. There will really only be grass in the pathways, if that, over time. And so it doesn't really make sense to just keep using the potting soil mixes throughout the entire yard. I'll be getting truckloads of organic garden soil, compost, wood chips, mulch, and as the garden grows, kind of creating it with that in a more voluminous amount. But for now, having the potting soil and the compost mixture covering the root systems of these plants that were dug out. This was one of the plants right here that was dug out by the turkey, and now its root system is covered for next week's cold weather. I am not going to replace all of these little stones, decorative stones that I had displayed, because I'm honestly probably going to add more soil, more layers of either compost, manure, soil, mulch as I'm planting, as the ground gets tamped down by the rain, or I try to not step on the soil so that it remains like light and airy, but it will compress, and those aren't serving a structural purpose. So once the garden is done for the year, as far as planting goes, I'll probably put them in somewhere again But for now, it's probably better that they're not in there. So now we're going to work on the bed that's right here. Do the same thing. I'm going to add my last bag of potting mix and maybe some more of the compost and manure to this area. Just kind of fill out this border right through here. Maybe even fill in a little bit of this area since I have it. And I might even add a little more mix to my tulip bulbs that are already sprouting, even though it's been a very, very temperate winter. So I'm happy with this. It doesn't look like much right now. This is the azalea under its little protective cage. It is making a comeback after getting devoured. So it looks better. Not like much, but it will be a great canvas for early spring. Something else I'm going to do here while I'm at it is add some worm castings to the garden bed from last year. I have them out, and soon I'll be doing something similar, only with organic garden soil, to that bed where I do the layers, just kind of prepare the ground for the planting season. But since I have the worm castings out, I'm going to sprinkle those across the top now. And then an important part is I'm going to water in everything that I just laid down. I also wanted to mention another reason why we want to water in everything we just laid down is because I'm using bags of potting mix that have probably been sitting at the box store all fall, all winter. Some of it is moist, most of it is dried out. It may be hydrophobic. You know, those bags of soil aren't really getting watered unless there are holes in the bag and it rains. So you can see that there are areas that are very dry through here, back through here, and then some that aren't. But we want to rehydrate the soil. We want it to absorb water. We want all of the worm casting nutrients to leach down into the potting mix, into the compost, into the manure, and we want the microbes that are already established in the soil to mix in and create a very living environment for everything that's going to get planted in these beds come spring. so I'm not going to keep these rocks here. I just place them along the edge to keep them out of the yard, out of the way, not just in a heaping pile, and they kind of establish the edge of where I'd like the bed. We're gonna do the same thing to this side of the bed. Anyway, that's about it for the day. But it's still winter time, even though it was 50 degrees today. So it's hard to remember that it is going to get dark soon. But I think the herb flower gardens outside the back porch look much better. They're in much better shape. The salvias that were planted there that had the exposed root bulbs, the mint plants, they're protected for next week, and it'll be a much better starting point come May. Anyway, thank you for joining me today, and here's one last look at the beds.